It is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. I'm Pastor Thor Ramsey with Center Church. This is Gospel for Five, where we take 5 minutes out of our day and focus on the gospel because Jesus is the gospel. We've been going through the book of Galatians, and we are in Galatians chapter 3. We ended up about verse 9, I believe, last week. But let me just begin in verse 7. We'll kind of recap a little bit here, and then we'll pick up verse 10 here. Know then that it is those of faith who are sons of Abraham. So those who are of faith are the sons of Abraham. Again, he is really making the distinction here between those who really trust in God's plan of salvation and trust what God is doing, and those who are really practicing a form of self-salvation, whatever that happens to be. In this case, it happens to be a type of Judaism that doesn't recognize the promised Messiah, who is Jesus Christ. So those who have faith in what God has provided through Christ are the children of Abraham. And the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith. Again, justify is a Bible word that means to be declared not guilty or made right, set right in the eyes of God. But to be declared not guilty, I think, is the best definition. So God would declare the Gentiles not guilty of their sins against him by faith, of course, in the finished work of Christ. So, and the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles, and of course the scripture he's talking about here is the Old Testament. So the Old Testament foresaw that even Gentiles, in addition to Jews, would be declared not guilty before God by faith in the work of Messiah. So in the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel beforehand to Abraham, which I just love that. I love always stressing that shows us the gospel was preached to Abraham, so we can find the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, in the Old Testament, because it was preached to Abraham, saying, "In you shall all the nations be blessed." So then those who are of faith are blessed along with Abraham, the man of faith. Then we pick up here in verse 10, "For all who rely on works of the law are under a curse." So, if you're trying to be saved by your own morality, if you're trying to be saved by your good behavior, that is a form of self-salvation. Even people who wouldn't subscribe to the Bible write their own laws, which they break. So, wherever your laws come from, you can't fulfill them perfectly. Therefore, it should show you that self-salvation is a futile endeavor. So all who rely on works of the law are under a curse. For it is written, "Cursed be everyone who does not abide by all the things written in the book of the law and do them." The wages of sin is death. One sin brings, well, that's really what, if we go back to the story of Genesis, it was one sin that put us, the human race, in the predicament we are in now. One sin against the infinite, loving, all-wise God, who did everything for them. One sin which said, "I, too, will be like the God who created me." That, again, is the essence of sin. It is the heart that says, "I'll define reality apart from the God who created me." And when you look at how people live their lives, and this is specifically thinking of America, that is the pattern. That is the definition of sin. Any form of self-salvation where you're saying, "I'm deciding I'm going to be saved this way," and that's basically what's happening there. But the wages of sin is death. Now it is evident that no one is justified before God by the law. It's evident. Again, I think Timothy Keller pointed this out. Others probably have pointed it out. I'm sure Timothy Keller has, but the reality is this: if you're not trusting in the person and work of Jesus Christ, if you're not trusting in his death in your place and the resurrection, his resurrection from the dead to bring you new life, that you might have an actual true relationship with the living God, you are practicing some form of self-salvation. And even in that, even if it's your own creation, you create laws, then what do? You break them. You don't even fulfill your own list of, here's what I want for my life perfectly. That's why it's evident no one can be saved by following laws, even man-made laws, let alone the laws of the holy, infinite God of the universe. Now, what has God said to you today? What do you